is, if you were king of tennis, Robin, if you were king or queen, in this case, queen of tennis, is there anything, whether it's the whole world, just in North Carolina, any scope you want, is there anything you would do or change?
I would like to make tennis as a sport easier to consume as a fan, because I started as a fan. I have a terrible time keeping up, and I am supposed to keep up for my job. Where is the tennis? Peacock, NBC, ABC, ESPN, ESPN Plus, Tennis Channel, T2, streaming. Like, it's just so all over the place that I have to spend time almost troubleshooting which matches are where and what's going on. And some of that is the nature of the beast, because you have so many options, especially, with some of the rain that we've had recently in Roland Garros, things get crazy. Wimbledon gets crazy, but it's very hard for us as a sport to say, come join us, when you have to go through all of these steps to figure out, quite literally, who's on first. Where am I going for this tournament? Which channel has got which? And I would really love to see some kind of system, if you will, to at least track that better, to make it more accessible. And I think that it would be nice if we could. I don't want to go too controversial, but I think there are some serious merits to merging the tours for both the WTA and the ATP, so that, again, we can present this unified sporting opportunity and people aren't having to make all these decisions and juggle.
All right, so two good ideas. I'll push back on both, because
Okay.
I think your first answer was, if you were advising the queen of tennis, you would tell her what she needs to figure out how to do. You said, I'd like to see this thing happen. Do you actually have any ideas as to how we do it? You mean a system like there's one website that has where all the matches are being played and what channel? Or were you talking about trying to get this one place, like Tennis Channel just has to cover everything so we know where it is? Is there an answer to that?
Well, I think that the answer is, you need the research, right? You've got all these broadcasting deals and all these rights, and all of that helps pay the bills, right? It has to pay the bills. So I'm not clear on who owns what, why, and how much money's going hither and yonder. I don't know how all of that works. So I would love to see why things are the way they are, and find out if there was a more streamlined way to provide access to fans. All you have to do is look at what's going on with Warner Brothers Discovery and the whole drama with the NBA and what's going to happen. Are they going to lose the rights? Stuff like that. There's a reason we rotate the Super Bowl, right? You have some NFL games on Fox, some NFL games on CBS, and some NFL games on NBC. But there's a system, right? We know what games are going to be where, and we know that certain days of the week, Monday Night Football's on this channel, your late games are on this channel, your early there's a system. I don't know what that needs to be for tennis, because I don't have enough information to know, but we can't seem to get our ducks in a row and have some kind of a system, so that we can start developing a little bit of that, almost that muscle memory. Oh, it's Monday, so I got to turn on this TV channel if I want to watch tennis. Oh, it's okay. World Series is going to be on this channel. That kind of a thing, I guess, is what I'm getting at, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, maybe that's easier because it's just national, right? With an international sport like tennis, you're just not going to figure out what channel the Kazakhstan tournament is going to be on.
Right. And that's part of the problem. And sometimes it's on Prime now, and it's just like, okay,
right.
where is all the things?
Yeah.
And that doesn't even have to happen with every single tournament. But I mean, right now, even with Roland Garros, if you want to watch that, you've got to have Tennis Channel 2, and ESPN.
Yep.
And
which I do.
And no, not ESPN. That's going to be later for Wimbledon, right? And then it's going to be on NBC this weekend. So if you've been watching Tennis Channel all week, then you got to know to go, okay, they're going to go over to NBC this weekend, and then they're going to, okay, and then ESPN has Wimbledon, and then it's going to go to ABC for the, I don't know where I am.
When the networks take it over for the weekends, it drives me nuts. We're like, we're going to cover it from 12 to 3. I'm like, that is not enough. And you're only going to show me the one match that I've already seen. I'm like, no, that's right. Not. So I'm with you on that.
But so that gets to be a little confusing.
Yeah, I'm with you. All right. And then the other one about merging the tours. So I got two questions on that. Do you have an example of another professional sport that would merge men's and women's businesses like that for anything other than one makes more money than the other? Like, is there other than the idea, and this is someone, I watch men's tennis, I don't really watch women's tennis. That's just my thing. I prefer one over the other.
Mhm.
But in that case, if you package it together, there's a benefit for one. Is it almost detrimental to the other?
And that's what I'm kind of hearing up here, more conversations about if that does happen, how would those rights be distributed? How would those facilities be distributed? You know, we wanted to have a women's event in Winston-Salem, and that is still something that we'd really like to do, but you have to go through a lot of hoops, right? Okay, so you have to have men's locker rooms and women's locker rooms and these practice courts and that practice courts. We have the court space, for example. We have plenty of courts where we could run an event concurrently. The question is how many events around the world would be able to host those joint events, right? You're probably still looking at the Master Series. I would just think in general, you know, I would push back on you and say, well, why is it that you only watch men's tennis?
Me personally?
Because you're not having, I mean, because women's tennis, some people, you can make an argument that women's tennis is every bit as exciting. People are saying the match between Osaka and, you know, Swiatek was one of the matches of the year. Of course, last year we had Joker and Alcaraz. Was that Cincinnati? Where that was just an instant classic. So I think there's a lot to be discussed in terms of the logistics of how it would merge. But again, for tennis as a whole, when we go compete in tournaments, we don't have the men's state championship in Georgia over here and the women's state championship. And we go compete together, right? And then we can play, you know, we have all of our age groups or all of our NTRP levels, you know, and then we have combo at certain times and we have, you know, regular adult leagues and mixed. As tennis as a whole, it is always better to present a unified front. Now, the logistics of how we divide out money and broadcasting, again, I would not presume to have an answer because I don't have the ins and outs. I would just like for there to be a little bit more transparency on why things are the way that they are so that we can continue to make this more accessible for more people.
And we'll see if we can get the powers that be on the phone.
Yes. Let me know.
Exactly.
That's on you.
Okay. All right, Bobby, we got some work to do.